Hello friends, good morning, good evening. My name is Manish. I'm from the CMS 91.1 FM, which is Canberra Multicultural Service on FM 91.1. I'm right now here in the Grant Cameron Community Centre in Holder, based in Canberra. And I have with me Graham. Graham is a coordinator and a volunteer working at TADACT. TADACT is another voluntary or non-profit organization based in Grand Cameron Community Centre. Let's welcome Graham to our Canberra Multicultural Service Radio, and we'll talk about what is TADACT, what services they provide, and how you can take help of TADACT if you got any disability service requirement, or do you, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll go from there. So let's sit down and we'll talk to Graham.
Okay, that's fine.
And he's going to tell us all about the organization. So keep listening, keep watching Canberra Multicultural Service and Hindi radio channel, Radio Manpasand. Welcome, Graham.
Thank you.
And it's lovely meeting you, I think. So tell us about TADACT. How long is this organization running for, and what does it stand for?
Okay, well, let's start with what it stands for. TADACT, Technology for Ageing and Disability, ACT. It's an incorporated association based here in Canberra. It's been going since 1979, originally known as Technical Aid to Disabled, but they realised that the name should really change to reflect the fact that we do things for older people as well. So what we do is we make and modify equipment for people with disabilities of any age, and we do similar things for older people. With the older people, it may be something like a mobility scooter, a wheelchair, a four-wheel walker, those sort of items we either make, or we modify and refurbish the items and make them suitable for use by people who have needs.
Lovely. I see it's been here since 1979.
Yeah.
So how long you have been involved with it, and why this as an organization after your retirement?
Yes, I retired at the end of 2005 and decided to make contact with TADACT, having been encouraged to do so by some friends from Rotary, because I like doing practical things. And they said, well, why don't you put your skills to use helping TADACT? And that was the start of my volunteering in early 2006. I live fairly nearby, so it's convenient as well. And I've enjoyed helping people along the way.
I can see your passion. And how long you have been with TADACT?
Well, since
2006.
Since February 2006.
Oh, February 2006.
Yeah,
It's
so
been a long time.
a long time, yes.
So are you the only volunteer working here? Do you have any staff or?
No, we have volunteers who do work in the home workshops.
Right.
And there's about 50 of those on the books, but of those, probably about half of those are active. And then we've got some volunteers who come in and do some support work, such as Pat, who's in here at the moment, doing some admin support work for us. She does a few hours a week. And we've also, on a Wednesday in the afternoon, typically got some volunteers who a volunteer who will come in and do some work on a mobility bike for a child, just fitting it out and checking out the bike. That's the sort of thing we do. But as I say, the work is primarily done in the volunteers' home workshops.
So probably you need more volunteers to come and help you out.
Always looking for new volunteers. We've had, in the last week, we've had 2 funerals of our previously active volunteers. It's all very sad, but you know, the time comes when you need to refresh, and we always welcome inquiries from people who are looking for something to do to help people in the community. So yeah. In fact, we've had this late last year, early this year, we've had 2 volunteers join us, which has been great. And most years we've got a few new ones coming in.
So
And
some
a few people move away, of course. That's the other thing that happens. That some people get into their retirement mode, and then they go away and they travel a fair distance away from here, so it's no longer able to help them. What we do is our clients or people we help are mainly Canberra based, but we also do things for other people in southeast New South Wales, whether it be Cooma or Goulburn or Yass, and so on.
So people from the
Southeast New South Wales.
up to the Bateman's Bay and Jervis Bay as well? Or?
Well, up to mainly, yes, going north up to Bateman's Bay and south down to the Victorian border,
Right.
and up through the Snowy Mountains via Cooma.
So somebody needs disability equipment or something. Do you deliver to them, or they have to come and pick?
It depends what it is they're after. Often we'll involve an occupational therapist who works with us
Right.
to go and check out the needs, specific needs,
Right.
and give advice. If it's a special modified bike that's needed, we do therapy assessments here, resulting in a script,
Okay.
which we then put a quote together and get a funding approval. It's all approved, we go ahead and get the bits and make the bike, special bike. There's an example there behind us there.
Yes.
But it's a mixture really of those sort of models of buying things in, modifying them, making things from scratch.
Right.
We've got people with wide skills from doing drawing work and architectural work through to mechanical engineering, electrical engineering. And we've got someone who's a specialist in plastics.
Right.
We have our own 3D printer,
Oh, okay.
which we can loan out to people who work with us to work on a particular component. We have other equipment that we loan out to volunteers to use in their home workshops that might supplement what they need to make a particular item.
Right. So equipment people can buy from you. Can they rent out as well, or just
Not
borrow
normally,
it for?
Not normally, no. We've got to survive, so we make and sell primarily.
Okay.
There are occasions, rare occasions, where we'll hire something out as part of a plan leading to a decision on whether they're going to actually buy something. That happens from time to time, but typically what happens is we make and modify. We do also accept donations, as I think I mentioned earlier,
Right.
of equipment. As you can see, we don't have much space at the moment, but there's been some very useful donations that we then work on that donated equipment. For example, it might be a scooter.
Right.
We'll work on it, we'll refurbish it, put some new batteries in it, and it's then good to go for someone who needs a low-cost solution compared with buying a new scooter, which is very expensive.
There must be money involved with it. Where do you get all these grants? Is it just from the donations, or
We don't get grants.
you don't get grants from any
No.
government or?
No, we are very dependent on the work of the volunteers, resulting in some revenue that comes to us.
Right.
And as I say, also those items which were the donated items, we obviously make some money when we sell those. And also we've got the occupational therapy services which get provided, and that creates some revenue for us.
Right.
And also that occupational therapy service might also be used and helped with building modifications for people. Some people need, for example, better access to their home because of their disabilities or their ageing issues. So our therapist will assess what the needs are, and we'll then perhaps use a building subcontractor to actually construct items, and our volunteers might construct other items. So it's a mixture of things there, but that's another way that we get some revenue in from working with a builder,
So,
contractor.
are you affiliated with any hospitals or aged care homes, or this is just a
We do it for anyone.
do it for anyone?
Do it
Okay.
for anyone.
As long as they are in ACT and surrounding areas.
It's part of this area in southeast New South Wales. And having said that, we are part of a network of similar organisations across the nation. The only state that doesn't have a similar organisation, it's not really a state, but Northern Territory.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a very big organisation in WA and Victoria, New South Wales and so on.
Right.
So we share information with these other TADs, as they call them, other disability services, and working with the older people. But yes, we share information, share designs, and sometimes we'll source something from someone out of town.
Okay.
Other times they'll get us to make something and we'll send it out. There's an inquiry I've got this morning I was looking at from WA. They'd like to get the equipment to assemble a one-handed walker for someone who's only has the ability to use one hand, but that needs a walker to support them when they're out and about. It's ideal to put a crossbar between the handles so they can hold it in the middle, as opposed to if you held it just by one hand and you walk forward, you go around like a Woolworths trolley. You go around in circles. But if you're holding it in the middle, so we put this crossbar on, and the crossbar can be swung out of the way to help that person sit down when they need, and we modify the brakes to suit.
Right.
So that's an item that we have supplied to other places. We've provided some to Queensland, some down to Albury, Wodonga, and some to Perth, and some to Adelaide, if I recall correctly. That's something. So there are some items which we do and provide elsewhere. Our one-handed snooker aid is another example of that. And there are a few other one-handed devices that we've made, like a one-handed knitting aid.
Right. Okay.
That has been sold to places literally around the world. We've sent that to
Is it? Okay.
North America, Europe.
Wow.
Not many, but just every now and
That's-
then someone comes across information regarding what we can do. So we'll make one and we'll post it off to them.
Something very unique, very innovative.
Yeah, exactly.
So has the demand increased for disability services and equipment, or is it people are getting help from somewhere else, or
I'd say it's certainly waned a bit during the COVID times.
right?
The rate of inquiries has been less during COVID.
Okay.
Partly it's a case of us not getting out there and getting the message out there that we exist. And this interview will help in that regard, I'm certain.
Sure.
But yes, we need to get the message out there that we exist. In some cases, there are commercially available items available now that replace things that we'd have done in the past. For example, we have a product that's on the shelf there, a teapot tipper in wood. A teapot tipper, yeah.
Right. Okay.
And that teapot tipper, now you can buy an electric jug tipper
Right.
commercially.
Okay.
So the demand for our teapot tippers is
This
disappeared.
is
We do things like chair raisers, fairly regular basis. Chair raisers, table raisers and bed raisers, just to allow people to be able to access those items at the right height and transfer on and off. But there are some commercially available chair raisers. But what we do is we custom build them
right.
to suit the particular style of chair leg that's already there on the chair, for example. And Sometimes we make a platform on which we put a chair.
Right.
If it's a recliner chair,
Okay.
we'll make a platform that brings it up to the right height so that people can comfortably transfer on and off the chair.
I'm looking at the electric scooter here. Do you need a license to drive onto it, or you can just you do?
You can just they
Good.
they don't go very fast.
But you have to be on the footpath, not on the road, I believe.
You should be on the footpath. There are some places in New South Wales where I have seen people driving along the gutters
Oh.
because they don't have footpaths.
Okay, I understand.
But yes,
Yeah.
typically, yes, you drive on the footpath, you drive safely, you avoid hitting other people.
Absolutely.
But as I say, they move relatively slowly, but they've got a pretty good range. You know, typically they've got a 20-kilometre range. You know,
Okay,
it's including going somewhere and coming back.
right.
So that gives you the ability to get out and about to the local shops, local shopping centre. The smaller ones will get used, and like this one here, more typically around a retirement village.
Right. So they can
Or a
move
nursing-
around from, yeah,
Yes, room to room, and
absolutely.
whereas the big ones are fairly cumbersome in terms of ability to get in and out of a small room and have their
Yeah, I've seen that four-wheel walkers are very much in demand because a lot of disabled people would like to use them for, especially in their homes or walking around. Yeah.
Indeed, yes.
So, which equipment do you think is very much in demand, and do you need more supply or donation?
But at the moment, we don't have much space, so
Okay,
we have very limited space for donations. And we've got a number of scooters we're working on, and we've got a number of walkers that we have worked on that are ready for sale. So at the moment, we're not looking for extra donations.
extra donations. Okay,
No.
yeah, over.
But, you know, from time to time, things change.
Yes.
Some times of year that it seems to be the demand is higher. Other times, you know, there's little demand.
So how can people avail these services? Because have you got a website, Facebook, or
We
some?
have a website, yes,
Okay,
and we have brochures which you've seen, and word of mouth seems to be
absolutely.
a very typical way. Many people who come and
The good
just
old
drop in.
media, the word of
Yes.
mouth.
Many people who just drop in and say, "We've heard about you.
There you go.
Can you help with such and such?"
Even
Or they'll email us
okay,
with an inquiry. But often the inquiries might come through other therapists from around the area. They may be occupational therapists or physiotherapists, typically, one of those two. They may come across a client who has a need, and they'll refer them to us, either directly themselves or get the client themselves to directly make contact with us.
so how community can help you out as a volunteer or as an occupational therapist or physiotherapist? Do you need more of these?
We certainly need more occupational therapy availability, yes.
On voluntary basis, not a, it won't be a paid service, I believe.
Well, with the occupational therapist, no, we can pay them.
Okay,
Yes, we have a limited number of hours of occupational therapist availability at the moment, and that is limiting what we can do in some ways. So if we're able to get an additional occupational therapist to work with our existing one, that would be very helpful.
okay. And volunteers, you're looking for
Volunteers of
what sort of work they will be
just looking
doing.
across the range of skills that get used by making things. People who are comfortable working in wood and metal
right,
are the two dominant areas.
like a trade person or an engineer you need.
No, it doesn't have to be an engineer. Engineers always welcome.
Yeah, okay, like the person like you, mechanical engineer.
Yes, indeed, and manufacturing engineer.
Absolutely.
But, a volunteer who has some skills,
Hands-on skills.
hands-on skills, we used to describe some of them as enthusiastic amateurs,
Absolutely.
and they're welcome. They're welcome.
And do you need drivers as well for your?
No,
No, they're all good so far because
no.
delivering and picking up things you need.
We use our little van we've got, or the volunteer themselves may go to the site and collect things.
Okay.
Because there's always a need to source materials as well for the various items that we're working on. It can be quite time consuming getting the right materials together.
Right.
Yeah.
It was lovely talking to you, Graham. And you're coming up with an open day on 20th of May, which is Saturday.
Yes, we'll be there.
Yeah, a grand Cameron Community Centre is open, and all the tenants here, or I should like the services provided here will be open to public.
That's
People
right.
can come and visit. So,
And we'll have some examples of typical things that we have worked on
right.
there for people to see as the examples.
Nice talking to you, and wish you all the best.
Yeah,
And TADACT has been doing a wonderful job and making people able to walk, run,
that's right.
and do their normal things.
It's great. It's great to see people getting the enjoyment of being able to do the things in their life that they're
Independently. Wonderful.
Independence is the key word in all of this.
Lovely. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.